The future of the classroom. It sounds so grand, doesn't it? We've all heard the promises, technology swooping in to revolutionize how we learn. But what's actually happening on the ground? Well, today, we're going to dig into that exact gap, the dream versus the reality.
So let's start with this quote that honestly just nails it. It's from computer scientist Mark Weiser, way back in 1991, but you'd swear he wrote it this morning. He said, "The best technologies aren't the flashy ones we're always fiddling with. No, the best ones are the ones that just disappear. They weave themselves into our lives so perfectly that we stop seeing them as technology at all." And that right there, that is the ultimate dream for educational technology. Creating a learning environment where the tech just fades into the background so the learning itself can finally be the star of the show.
Reiser had this amazing way of explaining it. Think about taking a walk in the woods. You're processing a ton of information, right? The sounds, the sights, the smells. But it doesn't feel like work. It's natural, almost relaxing. Now compare that to wrestling with a clunky piece of software. It's often the total opposite, just stressful and frustrating. So the goal, the big vision, is to make our learning tools feel a lot less like a computer and a whole lot more like that walk in the woods.
Okay, so this whole idea isn't just a metaphor. It actually has a name, ambient learning environments, or ALEs for short. And the concept is, well, it's pretty powerful. Instead of making students sit down and enter the computer world to learn, what if we could weave computing into the real world around them? The tech becomes this invisible layer that supports learning right where it happens in a totally natural way. So how do you even design something like that? It really comes down to three big ideas. First, a low threshold. That just means it's super easy for anyone to get started. No complicated manuals. Second, you want wide walls. This means the environment is open and flexible. You can poke around and explore without hitting a dead end. And third, a high ceiling. This one's crucial. The tool isn't just for beginners. It can grow with you and support you all the way to mastering really complex subjects. And listen, this isn't some far-off sci-fi dream. It's actually starting to happen. Look at this, an augmented reality app at a museum. You're looking at a real physical artifact, but through your phone, this whole digital layer pops up, giving you amazing context. It's seamless. The tech just disappears and suddenly you're just learning. So, that's the dream. It's beautiful, right? Seamless, powerful, totally intuitive. But, and you knew there was a but coming, how does that dream stack up against our current reality? Well, let's take a look. Yeah, because the reality of EdTech today is often a world of clunky systems, endless login problems, and, as we're about to see, some pretty serious risks hiding just beneath the surface. I mean, the difference is just night and day. On one side, you've got this amazing vision of ambient learning that's all about the student. And on the other side, well, you have what most of us actually use, the learning management system, the good old LMS. And let's be honest, these are usually built around the course, not the learner. They box learning into a separate digital world and often feel more focused on just managing the tech than on the actual learning part. And just when you think it couldn't get more complicated, along comes AI. Artificial intelligence is knocking on the classroom door, and while the potential is absolutely massive, it also raises the stakes a lot. A big report from the U.S. Department of Education actually laid out 4 key risks we have to watch out for. There's algorithmic discrimination, basically the AI learning and repeating unfair human biases. Then there's student surveillance, the risk of monitoring students so much it just kills creativity. Of course, data privacy is a huge one, especially with kids' data. And maybe the biggest of all, the danger that we accidentally build AI to replace teachers instead of helping them. This brings us to a real catch-22. To give a student a truly personalized experience, the AI needs to know a lot about them. But the more data you collect to get that full picture, the bigger the risk to their privacy. It's this incredibly delicate balancing act, and honestly, it's one of the toughest nuts to crack. Let's look at a real-world example, gamification. You've probably heard of it, using things like points, badges, and leaderboards in the classroom. It sounds awesome, right? And it's super popular. But it's also a perfect case study of how the hype can get way ahead of the actual evidence. So if you look at the studies, it's messy. Sure, a lot of them, about 60%, report positive results, and that looks good on the surface. But when you dig deeper, researchers point out a huge issue. A lot of these studies just aren't very scientific. They lack proper rigorous evaluation. So what we've got is a ton of hype, but the hard empirical proof of why it works and how to do it right, that's a lot harder to find. And that's the story for so much EdTech. Okay, so we have this incredible dream on one side and this messy, complicated reality on the other. The big question is, how do we build a bridge? How do we get from here to there and actually get all the benefits without falling into all these traps? Well, it turns out the answer isn't just about building better tech. It's about having a better philosophy. And the core of that philosophy is one simple but powerful idea: always keeping humans in the loop. So what does that actually mean? It means you put students and teachers right in the driver's seat. They're at the absolute center. All the technology has to revolve around them. It's about making sure the systems are fair, that they protect privacy, and that they're actually aligned with what we want education to be. The human is always the one steering the ship. That's the only way we can build something we can genuinely trust. And there's this fantastic analogy that just makes this so clear. Think about it this way. What we want to build is an electric bike. When you ride an e-bike, you're still the one pedaling and steering. You're in total control. The bike just augments your power. It makes you stronger. The danger is that we build a robot vacuum instead. A Roomba just does the job for you. It automates the task completely. We want to augment teachers, not automate them. Multiply their skills, not replace them.
So this all boils down to 4 key steps. 1. Make sure every single tool is aligned with a human-centered vision. 2. Trust and safety have to be the top priority, period. 3. And this one is so important. Involve teachers and educators in the process from the very beginning. And 4. Focus on the real world. Make sure these tools actually work for diverse students in actual, messy, real-life classrooms.
And so, that's where we are. It all comes down to this one fundamental choice. Because the technology is going to keep getting more powerful. That's a guarantee. The real question is for us. What will we choose to do with it? Will we design technology that automates teaching and pushes humans to the side? Or will we choose to build technology that augments our own humanity and helps us finally build that incredible future of learning we've been dreaming about?